There we go. Good morning, everyone. This is Jesse. Excited to be here with you all. It's was it September 13th? So we're about a month into school. And that's really where a lot of the energy has gone this last month, ever since we've connected. Um, School's off the ground. We've got a little bit under 300 students in our student body. And I'll jump into some things with the work study program that I shared with you all last time. We've got about a little bit over 80% of students working. I think I shared this with you. We lost 10 corporate partners this year. As you all know, the economy is all over the place between the tariffs, budget cuts to grants that states normally give. We had a lot of companies take a step back. You've also seen layoffs, right, in different industries. So we definitely felt some of that. But despite that, if you look at the Crystal Ray schools, out of the 40 schools right now, as it pertains to the amount of students in paid and funded positions, we're number nine of the 41. So we're still, again, despite the loss of those 10 companies, which is about 40 positions, we're still doing well in terms of the network. Um, so that's something to be proud of, just in terms of the stability and sustainability of what the program brings to the health of the school and the student experience. A lot of the students and families, they get excited uh, for the program. So we do have a group of students that aren't working, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with WLCAC and their impact um, in the community. So for those students that we've got a group of freshman students, for those students that aren't working in jobs yet, we've got a partnership with WLCAC next door, where our students go and they take part in their art program, doing different things with ceramics, and um, they've even got some like glass art going as well. So that's been nice for us because we just walk the students next door, and our teachers will stay there with them. But they've got facilities and instructors specific to these skills um, that we're honing in on without having to essentially figure out a way to do that in-house. We could just partner with WLCAC. They've got the facilities, instructors, um, the materials for this kind of art, and the passion for it. So that's been good. That's been a nice partnership. This is our second year teaming up with WLCAC specifically on this art program that we're doing with them on Monday. So sharing with you all, because I know you guys are all also involved in different communities, nonprofits, and so it'd be nice for you all to know, how we're still partnering with the local Watts community as well. And WLCAC is they're being a great partner with us with this art program specifically. So the freshmen, I'll tell you, and I know last time we were here, Teddy was asking some good questions about admissions and retention of students. And so one of the areas where we see students leave Verb is between that ninth to 10th summer. And I know we were talking about different ways to hold on to them um, during that year, during that transition. So we've implemented a study skills class, a math readiness class, and a professionalism class on that Monday, in addition to the art, so that academically they're not falling through the cracks. Because we're finding that sometimes that's a big deterrent, because we want the students to stay on a college prep class so that they're competitive for college admissions. And so we've implemented an extra study skills class to capture that. Um, and we got different folks involved with the freshmen, but we're going to be doubling down on the freshman class because we don't want them to fall through the cracks early. And even through the football program, I'm not sure if Gary will hop on later, but they're even running now after school mandatory like study hours. So they're in the NPR, and they've got it all set up for them to, and they've got some coaches in there. They've got our student development coordinator in there, making sure that the football team and other athletes um, are focused on their work, so that when eligibility comes around, we're not losing any of them to eligibility. And what's cool about that is I've noticed other students now taking advantage of that space too. So there's a lot of attention and resources going over to making sure that academically the students and the student athletes have a space um, to take care of that. So shout out to Gary and his football staff for staffing that after school um, study time. Last Friday, for those of you that follow us on social media platforms, you probably saw that we had our Mass of the Holy Spirit to kick off the school year. We had several alumni show up as well, and we actually kicked off our program with Hardy, who had maybe like a 5 minute address to all of the stakeholders. We had, I think the numbers came in. We had about 450 people in the building, in addition to including the students. We had stakeholders, donors, alumni, parents as well were invited to this mass. And it was a two part event. First part was the Mass of the Holy Spirit, and then the second part we did a blessing of the football field, of the athletic field. And Hardy kicked us off with a really powerful message. Harold and I, just before we started recording, we were talking about, Hardy flew in specifically for this event and then made his way back to, I guess he flew out of Burbank, man. So if you see Hardy, um, extend gratitude. I know we definitely have for him to come down. It meant a lot to him to be there to kick off the school year. Um, and yeah, he had a really powerful message. One thing that really stuck with me that he shared with the students, and you saw a lot of eyes sort of pop up, right? Because they're hearing, 16-year NFL um, professional athlete with this incredible career. And one of the things he shared that made a lot of people's jaw drop was they asked him, you've had a lot of coaches in your career, who was the coach that impacted you the most, right? And while most people probably were expecting some, big time NFL coach or a name that we all know or that's more common to the public eye, he said, my high school football coach. That's the man that changed my life. And the room was blown away. They didn't see that one coming. I know you guys are all close, so you guys probably heard him say that, and you probably feel connected to that as well. But the students were blown away that during that time of this man's career, that part was the most impactful. So it was beautiful. It was a beautiful day. Harold was also there. He can speak on it once we open the floor. But just know that the alumni were felt through that really special day, and even when we transitioned to the field blessing as well. Some stuff on academics I want to highlight for the alumni. We had our honor roll assembly yesterday. It was great, great energy. A lot of students got some great awards. We also had some alumni there present for that event. We had the coach there present as well, just to show continued support for academics. The other thing I wanted to share with you all, again, this is all just health of the school, right? We only had one new teacher we had to replace this year, which is incredible. I mean, if you know anything about education, teachers are, schools are really struggling to keep teachers. The industry is struggling to keep school leaders and teachers. And so for us to only onboard one new faculty member, I haven't seen it since my involvement with the school in 2005 when I was a student. Um, and I can tell you that the one teacher we did replace, it was a mutual transition, right? Both the teacher and the school felt like it was time to transition out. So even that was voluntary. It wasn't out of the blue. So I share that with you because there's something to retention, right? Retention of faculty, retention of staff, retention of leaders. And I know that's something we're proud of, right? And also for the students, the less turnover you have with teachers, the stronger the relationship students have with those teachers that are there because they're starting to see them come back every year. So that's something that we want to share with you because it speaks again to the health of the school. Admissions season is open. If you know of students or know of families that are looking for a school for the upcoming school year, let us know. If you know of students that may be looking for a new school within this school year, maybe for January, who would be transfers, let us know, right? I know when we started to reconnect with alumni a year ago, or a little bit under a year ago, and Harold was privy to this early on. One of the things we wanted to share was, hey, admissions is it's an open door for conversations to see if we can make things happen, right? So admission season's open for the upcoming school year. Please let us know if you've got any families or any students that we should be reaching out to, and then send them Verb's way. Once we have the day of open house, we'll let alumni know. My hope is by the next call in October, we'll have the open house date. The odds of it, though, is probably going to happen earlier on. So Darius will probably let the alumni know in some kind of communication, hey, this is the day of our open house. If you know of any families that you think would be interested in Verbum Day, invite them to the open house. I know last year, Coach Gary brought, I think, like 6 or 7 students to the open house in October, which was great because that actually started some other conversations. And I remember seeing him and his some of those kids that he brought to that open house. They're students of Verbum Day right now. So once we get that open house date, we'll make sure it gets in front of the alumni so you guys can share with any families that are looking for a good school. I know Coach Gary will probably also appreciate it too, and he's been uploading on his social media. The admissions cycle is now open. And another thing on academics, college visits are in full swing. We had a great year last year in terms of our students going off to college. Great college numbers, great scholarship numbers. College visits are in full swing. We had Santa Clara visit earlier this week. I want to say we had USC. Don't quote me on that. But we're starting to see colleges come through for the upcoming, for this senior class, because we want to get them started early. Currently, and the reason why you don't see Father Travis here or Darius, they're working the ninth grade overnight retreat. I'm sure you all remember your retreats. This year, the ninth graders are doing an overnighter to start building that brotherhood. There's a lot of focus on the ninth grade right now, just making sure that they understand um, the power of Verbum Day. They're all coming from different middle schools. Some of them aren't coming from Catholic schools. Some of them are coming from public schools, charter schools. Some of them it's their first time being in a Catholic school. So there's a lot of level setting that the school needs to do with the ninth graders specifically, um, to let them know, what it means to be successful at Verb. Earlier this week, the seniors and the freshmen got into a little run-in because of Senior Square. So we had to deal with some stuff on Friday. Harold, I see your smile and I get it because I also smiled. I was like, I want these problems, especially with everything that's happening in the world. Like, I like these high school specific, verb specific senior square things. And that's how we felt about it too. But the freshmen were playing with fire. As you all know, there's brand new grass in senior square. The seniors were pumped once the caution tape came off to be in that space and hang out. And the freshmen, being the freshmen, said, all right, let's test these limits. So um, let's just say our dean's been busy the last couple of days with, because parents are different now too, right? So the students in many ways they're the same. They're playing with fire, but the parents aren't as understanding as maybe past parents were. That there's traditions that are to be respected. So um, our dean's handling it well. He's also an alum, so he gets it. Um, there's a Big Brother program we're starting this year with the ninth and 12th, so I think this is probably going to help with some of that. We've got a teacher, Mr. Reyes. He's a world history teacher. He's going to be overseeing ways to connect the upperclassmen with the underclassmen. I know we've talked about that on this call too, and how we can embed alumni into that programming also. So keep an eye out for that. Probably second semester. Again, we just started school, so I think Mr. Reyes, who's overseeing this, he's still getting a lay of the land on how he wants to approach this. But I think through this program, we'll be able to bring in some alumni second semester. So I know that's what we talked about the last call. How can alumni be helpful with the retention of ninth graders going into 10th grade so that they see the big picture of what it means to be a Verb student and a Verb alumni. And last but not least, and I know you all have the schedule and you've seen it, but just a reminder, next Friday, we're playing Belmont um, at Belmont, 7 p.m. After that, we've got Locke, followed by Manual Arts, then Hawkins, and then the big game, of course, is on the 24th, October 24th, at the Verb. We expect a packed house. We expect a packed house. So we've been sharing it far and wide. I think we're going to get a big crowd, frankly. And we like that. We want that. And I know Coach does too. So I just want to put the calendar in front of y'all. It's obviously an altered, it's a different schedule, not the one that we're used to, but it's part of the rebuilding that Coach Gary is overseeing, that Darius Spates is overseeing. So yeah, Friday's a big day. This upcoming Friday is a big day at Belmont. I'm sure Coach Gary's going to send out some information as well in terms of other details. But just so you know, man, if you have time to support the students and the Verb football team, next Friday at Belmont is going to be their first game. I think the last time they put on. Thanks, Edison, for plugging it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're ready to go. I know they're hungry to get on the field, and I know the coaches are too. So if you've got some time next Friday, it'd be great to see you all there.
Fellas, check the chat. I just put a snapshot of that on the chat for everybody to take down, put on your phones.
Thanks. Hope. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and pause there and see if there's any questions, any comments, um, any suggestions um, that you all have. Like I said, school's full swing next Friday, big day at Belmont. I'm sure coach is excited. Um, and yeah, everyone's been working really hard, man. We've got something. There's a great energy on campus right now. If you haven't had a chance to swing by, swing by. For those of you that have, I see you. We see you, and we're grateful um, for you guys coming on campus. And yeah, man. For now, those are the announcements we have coming from the Verb.
Hey Jesse, what's the what's the total number of freshmen we got in this class, and how does it fare to last year's class? Is it an increase
So
or
yeah,
decrease around the
that's a
same?
good question. I think we've got about 92.
Oh,
Um, and it's
wow.
it's it's not a small class. It's a good size class.
Yeah,
Um, so where does it fare? It fares right around where we've been. I think last year we probably had 88. So it's around there. We did get some transfers coming in this year. We are open to accepting transfers in January if there's alignment, if it makes sense, if there's, what I mean, if they're in good standing and the schedules will work out. But yeah, we had a little bit over 90 students. Again, not bad. The problem, Harold, is trying to keep
yeah,
those 90 as much as possible. Because if you have a class of 92, freshmen, but I think right now we've got about 70 something seniors. And this senior class is bigger than last year's seniors class.
okay.
Last year's senior class was a total of 57. But the reason why that class was so small was because that was the class that got recruited in COVID 2020.
Got it.
So that class was smaller. So they were at 57. This year's senior class is in the 70s. So again, that last year's graduating class got recruited during COVID, which was a tough year to recruit kids.
Right.
So it's a little bit smaller, but yeah, we're like I said, we're sitting around 293, 294 total student body. But we want to have another good freshman class coming in next year. But like I said, if there's some transfer students that are a good fit in January, we're going to leave that door open. In the past, as you all know, we haven't had that door open.
Right.
So
Right. Okay. All right, that's good stuff, bro.
Yeah. Thanks, Harold. And thanks for being there on Friday as well, man. I hope you had a good time. We got some good photos.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. That was a
we
good
had,
day, man.
we had a good alumni turnout too. Um, but yeah, anyone else have any questions or any comments or anything you're wondering on that I could bring to the table next month?
I'm thinking we may want to try and start figuring out a way to formalize um the freshman, sophomore alumni. Maybe start putting some framework up and keep getting some ideas from guys from alum.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be key. And January gets here quick, right? Because
Yeah.
basically you only got 2 months, right? So
Mhm.
October and November. December's a wash.
Summer and with the holidays.
Exactly, bro. Yeah, December's a wash. So I'm thinking for our next call, we may want to try and solicit some ideas, maybe have a framework or how we want to, formalize it, or maybe even a structure is how we want to, have
Yeah.
guys come in and speak to the experience or whatever, things like that, right? But I think we should probably try and get that going. And then once we get that going, then the ask will be detailed, right? We're looking for alumni to do these bullets
Yeah.
from here and on this date, and there's a powwow with the freshmen who are going to become sophomores to kind of help with that retention issue that we have.
Yeah. One of the things, Harold, I was thinking about too, because I'm always thinking of ways of looking at what already exists and how can we make it better
Yeah,
and
yeah,
improve it, right? Because the schedules are tight and they fly.
right.
Um, but one of the things I was also thinking, the freshman retreat's this weekend, so it happens really fast. But the sophomore retreat, I wonder if that could be a cool opportunity to have some alumni, um, because there's always talks that happen at these retreats, as you all know, and then afterwards they do like breakout sessions.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see if there's space or we can create space for alumni to get involved with the sophomore retreat potentially. And maybe the conversation goes to like, hey, you all are sophomores, you've got little brothers on campus.
yeah,
What is that? So for the freshmen, right, it's a different message, but for the sophomores, like, how do we start making them look at themselves different?
uh-huh,
And I think the alumni do a really good job of that because you guys have the most experience
right.
with being examples and models. And so, but you know what's cool is the students are slowly seeing a ton of alumni, and they're starting to get used to that. Even after the mass, they were like, because we had everyone stand, we had Al there as well. We had, so they're starting to see, oh man, there's some folks that are alumni we didn't even know were alumni, and so that's they're starting to see that more and more. So I think this is going to be a good way to bring in bring alumni into some of the programming that already exists, like the retreats, as well. So yeah, man, Edison, let me get together with um, the dean, the principal, and see where campus ministry is with some of the schedules. I know the dates are already set, but to your point, I don't want them to establish the program and they're so set on it that they don't want to make
Yeah, make adjustments.
a tweak. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if I get in there early, plant the seed, reserve the slots, they could even maybe mold the theme so that it ties into it cleanly. So
yeah.
yeah, man, I'm jotting that down and I'm going to follow up with campus ministry and some of the leadership with that stuff.
Cool, bro. That's everything I got, man.
That's great, Edison. I'll open the floor for anyone else. Um, Obviously, we're grateful y'all hopped on this Saturday morning, but if there's a comment or a question, I'm happy to field it as well. But man, well, look, either way, Harold, this was great attendance.
Yeah.
We're
I see
we're
my
having
boy Eric Wafer up in here. I see you, E.
we're having folks jump
Carl
on.
Richardson on there.
Yep.
That's right.
And then
Yeah.
I know folks will watch the recording too. So
Yep.
I know some of y'all can't make it. Some of y'all are working. You've got family stuff. Saturday mornings are busy with families. Um, and we're grateful for you tuning in and staying in touch and checking the emails and supporting, even with likes, man, sharing the posts. Like any little bit helps. The verb right now. And Edison, I see that eagle, man. That looks, that
Oh,
looks,
dude, my new tat.
dang,
Right, that's right. Oh yeah,
man,
Verbum
that
Dei
artist
all
is
day.
cold. That artist is cold.
Oh yeah, he's good. He's good. He's good. He done sloss and swap me too, so he's straight. I say he's down. He's down.
um,
That's what's up.
that's what's up. All right, Harold, Verb alumni, man. Thanks again. We'll be in touch. Stay in touch. Stay connected, and I'll see y'all later, man.
All right, brother. Thanks, Jesse.
All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
All
all
right, man.
right, fellas.